against the wall. I'm never giving up, I give my all. I'm never looking back, attack, it's in the past. Stand up, stand up, stand up. You ain't ready for me. Give me your best shot, the stronger I stand. Not looking for sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We had some technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on with that. That's weird. But we're going to edit that. It's fixed. So, the road to get here, Liana, you didn't watch prolific pro wrestling in WWE for a long time. You, like the last year, you've been pretty caught up with the Bloodline storyline. And again, this proves to say that the Bloodline storyline is working because it's bringing people in.
In my defense, I was watching Raw because of Cody, and they brought in the recap of what was going on with the Bloodline, and I went, ooh, wow, that's intriguing, what's going on. So I was watching it with Sammy had just got into the Bloodline, and I thought that was interesting, and I love the Usos, even though they have some, extracurricular activities outside of wrestling that have gotten them in trouble.
You all look just like your mugshots.
Yeah, exactly. But I started watching it because of Sammy and because of the Usos, and I kind of wanted to see where this was going, and then the feud between, Jimmy turning on Roman, that just interested me because I'm like, what's Jay gonna do?
Yeah.
And then add Solo to it made it even more interesting because they're brothers.
Yeah.
So I started watching it, and because I was interested to see what was gonna happen, and I don't want to get off on a tangent and talk about the match without talking about the pay-per-view in order.
Hey, no, you're fine. You're fine. So, let's kick it off right. So, Money in the Bank, for the first time in over 20 years, there was a pay-per-view held in London, England. And that crowd was raucous. Now, they did have... I did not catch the pre-show. I caught the show about midway through the first match because I just got home from work, turned it on, and the Money in the Bank ladder match was on. So I got to watch it, and I ended up watching it from the beginning.
So I want to say from the onset, I wanted LA Knight to win.
Yeah, that's who I wanted. Let's talk about everyone.
Everybody.
So let's take a look at everyone that was in the match. So Money in the Bank, the first match of the night was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, L.A. Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and the megastar Logan Paul. Now, right away, I wanted two people to win from the night that this match was talked about. Priest and L.A. Knight. Priest because I've watched.
Okay, so I wanted.
And LA Knight.
I wanted to.
The TNA run.
I loved LA Knight as Eli Drake. Yeah, and I also wanted him to win, or I wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to win. One of those two.
Shinsuke, I mean, I don't think the briefcase would have done him well, but I mean I don't disagree with it, but. The match started, the 6 other participants immediately stared down and attacked Logan Paul. They split off into pairs to get in the flow of the match. There was a lot of action in this match. A lot of scary action, and one of the last moments of the match that I saw, or that happened, was when it was Logan Paul.
Ricochet and Logan, yeah.
Yeah, they did. So, Logan, they tipped the ladder over. And Logan and Ricochet are on the ladder.
They both landed wrong.
Ricochet fixes himself. He gets on the rope like he's supposed to. Logan Paul's trapped with like one leg in the middle rope, but over the top rope, and the other leg's positioned right. Ricochet grabs him. You can hear him say, "Time to fly," and they do a Spanish fly. Well, Logan's leg got caught midway through. He lands head first into the table. Luckily, no concussion. Dude was just fine, just a nasty fall. They do a double Spanish fly through 2 tables on the outside. Damian Priest snatches the Money in the Bank briefcase. Damian Priest is your 2023 Men's Money in the Bank. How did you feel about that overall, like the overall ladder match and then that victory by Priest?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. I don't like Money in the Bank as a pay-per-view because I come from the old school when Money in the Bank was just a match.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't like it as a pay-per-view. The match was pretty good. I don't like Damian Priest because I don't like the way Punishment Martinez left ROH. I don't like him personally. I don't like anybody in the Judgment Day with the exclusion of Finn Balor because it's Finn Balor.
I love the Judgment
I
Day.
I don't like Dom. Nobody likes Dom.
Dom's such
I don't
a
like
great heel.
Rhea. I don't like Rhea. I like Rhea. I don't like what they're doing with Rhea. I don't like Rhea's character. And I do not and never will like Damian Priest.
So,
but, that's Rhea, what they want to push.
The Rhea and Dom thing reminds me a lot of Eddie in China. Back when Eddie was just becoming Latino Heat. Like, that, it really reminds me of that. So, like, I dig the Judgment Day thing. Overall, CBS Sports gave this a B+. I have not looked to see what Dave Meltzer gave this because I don't really give a fuck what Daddy Dave has to say.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that Conrad Thompson, who I hate with a passion, was not a fan of this pay-per-view. But I give a fuck less what you think, Conrad. So,
Conrad's not listening to our podcast.
I hope not, because if so, we got some heat. So, next match of the night. This one was a doozy. I'm not a fan of them even having tag titles, because I don't think they have enough women to do this, but the undisputed women's tag team title match was next.
Oh my god, I fucking love this match.
This match.
This match was so good.
This was the Horsewomen, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defending versus the champs that never lost the straps, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. The story of the match, Liv Morgan got her arm broke earlier on in the year, had to relinquish the titles. They came back to get the straps. Shayna and Ronda's been on fire. I really wanted Ronda and Shayna to retain the tag titles because the rumor was that Sasha and Naomi were coming back, so I was like, there's your feud for the titles. Well, then, I don't know who you wanted to win, but
I wanted Liv and Raquel to win. I did, and can I talk about it?
Yeah,
can I say it?
Yeah.
When Shayna turned on Ronda, I was like, what
big
the
swerve.
Fuck?
Big swerve. And let's talk about that.
Literally,
That was big...
there was no reason for it at all. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it storyline-wise, but there was, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't, accidentally kick her or judo throw her or anything like that. Something that you would expect to happen for a swerve like that. But that was she just tagged her in. She walked over to her, went to go grab her, put her out of her misery, and Shayna came up from behind her and just blam. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Shayna walked in the Karafuda clutch, choked out Ronda Rousey, and then Liv Morgan hit her with the Oblivion, and it was over. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey lose the tag titles. Raquel and Liv are the new champions. CBS gave this a B-. I gave this match a D. There really wasn't much to it until the end. Like, you really thought that this was just your standard, oh, they're going to walk through them and then something's going to happen at the end. And that's how it felt, like, the whole match. The entrance was big because, like, everyone was like, oh, this kind of feels like a big fight because, like, Ronda and Shayna just marched to the ring. No fanfare, no looking at the crowd. They just marched their way to the ring, which that also kind of gave away something was going to happen because Shayna didn't even do her regular, like, she does this, like holy thing at the ring when she goes to enter. Didn't even do it this time. They gave it a B-. I gave it a D. I'm not a big fan of that whole storyline. This next match, though. So before I get to this next match, I'm a big fan of Progress Wrestling. I watched Matt Riddle and Walter in Wembley for Progress back when Walter was the Progress World Champion. To fast forward, I think it's been about 10 years. No, it's been like 5 to 10 years. It's Matt Riddle and Gunther for the Intercontinental title. And this match, I don't care if you're not a pure wrestling fan, if you just like two big men hitting each other and just slamming each other all over the mat, this was the perfect match. There was no outside bullshit. There was no shenanigans, no splooging, no fucking no schmozzing. It was two guys in there that just wanted to beat the hell out of each other. And Gunther did what Gunther does and beat the hell out of Matt Riddle. He had been working on a leg like all week to him. He had like stomped his leg in earlier in the week, broke his ankle, and then stomped on his ankle during the match and got him to tap out with a Toronto Maple Leaf in London. So that was dope. Gunther retains the Intercontinental title. CBS gave it a B. I gave it an A. I thought that match was everything it needed to be. How did you feel about Gunther and Riddle?
I do not. And for very hardcore reasons, I do not like Matt Riddle at all. 100%. I do not like him. I don't want to see him get hurt. I don't want to see any athlete get hurt. I'm not a big fan of Gunther. I like Walter, but Gunther is growing on me. I like the reign that he's having. I like the fact that he can do things on his own and he doesn't need Imperium.
I love how they've established that faction, how he can get the job done, and it's like how you look at like every other faction match, they always have the faction do some shenanigans during the match. That's never in a Walter match or a Gunther. Gunther never has outside interference.
Even though I don't like Riddle, I like that he actually held his own in the match.
Yeah, he was a good guy to go up against Gunther. Yeah.
Yeah, he really was. And I would, if I was going to grade the match, I would give it a B. If it had been anybody else, I would give it an A, but it's Riddle, so I give it a B.
I just thought the match delivered what it needed to because Riddle can make Gunther work.
It did.
And he can sell for Gunther.
I just don't like Riddle.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not a big Riddle fan. But
I don't want to get on my soapbox, but you know why I don't like Riddle.
Yeah, no, I totally understand why you don't like Riddle. I'm not a fan of Riddle because, like, to me, he's like Jeff Hardy. I've kind of like
whenever I hear bro, I go fuck.
No, with me, it's more of like the Jeff Hardy impact. Like, I loved Jeff Hardy, but every time he got my hopes up, he would fuck it up for himself, and then like it would punish us fans because he'd be gone for a long period of time, having to do his get rights and everything like that. Yeah. And now I'm going to say the nostalgia for that is gone, and I just see Riddle being Jeff Hardy 2.0 with that whole shenanigan. But up next, this match, I'm not going to lie, the match that I'm about to bring up next sucked, but it got the point across of what needed to happen. It was actually a legendary match if you think about it. Cody versus Dominic. 2 second generation. Actually, technically Dominic is a third, but he's technically a second, depending on the lineage of the Mysterio name that you want to go with here. Mysterio and Cody, it was a good match. Like, it was a decent match, but it wasn't. You knew. Like, if there would have been any false finishes to make me believe that Dominic was going to win, I'd probably give this a little bit better of a grade. But Dominic didn't even do, like, any, like, heelish, like, real heelish things of, like, the pulling of the tights or, like, the putting the foot on the bottom or on the middle rope to try to get the win over Cody. He didn't do anything, like, super heelish other than run from him. And, like, it was just to get back here, boy, get this ass whooping.
I feel like, and this is just, and I can say my professional opinion because
Yeah.
I've been a professional wrestler. My professional opinion is this was giving Cody a match at Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah, I know
And giving Dominic, putting Dominic in a match, and they just kind of
With a
put them
safe worker,
together.
with a safe worker.
It made no sense.
Yeah.
It really made no sense. It was two guys that needed a match.
Well, the match
That's
got
it.
made off
and
of a slap.
Yeah.
That's how the match got made. Dominic slapped Cody, and Cody goes, I'm going to kick your ass in Money in the Bank.
For me, this kind of derived from the road that Cody's on right now.
Well, okay. You didn't watch Raw.
For me, it took away.
Well,
it took away.
So,
because you're fighting Brock Lesnar and you're calling Brock Lesnar out and you're saying, come on, Brock. And then all of a sudden you go, hey, Dominic, come on. Let's go. Let's fight.
So,
like, why?
If you would have watched Raw
sense.
tonight, which I didn't watch, and I saw like a highlight of it when I was cooking dinner today. I haven't watched it, but I'll watch it tomorrow while I'm at work. The Dominic match would have made more sense if they did at Money in the Bank what they did at Raw. I don't want to spoil Raw for you unless you like want me to go ahead and tell you what happened for that whole part to make sense.
No, I'll watch Raw tomorrow.
Okay, but something big does happen, which should have happened at Money in the Bank. I don't know why they pulled the trigger 2 days later, but I just wrong place. I just think what happened at Raw should happen at Money in the Bank to make that match mean something, but whatever. The match got rated a B by CBS. I don't know who's rating these matches over CBS, but you're fucking stupid. The match was like a D at best.
I would. The only reason I would give it the grade that I'm going to give is because Cody was in it. I give it at least a B minus.
I mean, yeah, the match like
because
they didn't
Cody
do anything wrong. There wasn't like any slip ups in the match. There was no botch, and there was no like real dead time in the match. So like it was.
I will say this. Like Cody, taking Cody out of the equation, Dominic actually put on a good performance.
Dominic's not a bad. Yeah, he's never had a bad match. Dominic has never. When I watch Dominic wrestle, I've never went, all right, kid, hang it up already. Like he surprises me every week. He does something like every week that I'm just all like, this kid's got it. Like,
I mean, and I want to go ahead and get to the next match. I would like to see Dominic break away from Judgment Day and Rhea and do his own thing and see if he garners that heat on his own.
I think he should have done the LWO. Honestly.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I think that because that Eddie Guerrero heat.
Yeah, that's what Eddie did. Eddie created LWO, yeah.
Yeah. And the other day when they said the founder of LWO, Rey Mysterio, I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, watch an episode of WCW. That's not who founded it.
Right?
So up next was a pretty big moment in Money in the Bank because this was 100% complete surprise. Literally, the Cody and Dominic match ends. They have a little video promo package of what's going on the rest of the night and like WrestleMania in Philly, and like they just kind of go over some other stuff that's going on. They cut back to the arena. John Cena's music hits. I literally was sitting here typing something to you when the music hit. I stopped and I turned around because I thought it was just a video package. And then I just like turned around. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, it's Cena!" Cena comes out,
and he comes out, and I'm like literally going, "Oh my god, John Cena!"
And it was wild because
like I don't care why you're here at this point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You've done so much for the business,
and not only
like
that,
I don't even like John Cena, but I literally was like, "Oh my god, it's John Cena!"
And let's talk about this because I'm a big believer. And where the event is doesn't matter. Because honestly, I don't give a shit if an event's happening in Chicago. I don't care if it's happening in New York. After the first 5 minutes, I don't think anyone cares where that event is taking place. But the fact that it was a London crowd who, for the last 20 years, has hated John Cena and has usually said Cena sucks, was chanting, John Cena rocks. John Cena rocks, and he was even like, "Whoa, wait a minute here! Like, this is not what I
Yeah.
expected." Like,
By the
London
way,
crowd
I
went
want to
babyface.
I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite things about John Cena that I've actually loved for a couple of years is they have one camera guy that catches him when comes
Stu.
out, and his name is Stu, and he always says hi to him.
Yeah, they're best friends too. Like, he was like, "Stu, you made the flight." And it was a great time. Anyway, Cena comes out and he's really talking up London, and he's all like, "We're gonna bring London to WrestleMania." Of course, the stadium blows up at that point. That crowd's losing their mind. Grayson Waller comes out, of all people, cuts a little promo on John saying, "We're gonna bring WrestleMania to Australia," which I'm cool with
Well,
that too. I liked the event they had in
let me
Australia.
ask let me ask you a question. You've had the highlight reel. You've had
Miz TV.
Carlitos, which one?
Oh, the
Carlitos
Caribbean
one,
Lounge.
which I forgot.
The Caribbean Lounge.
Yeah, you've had that, and then you had Ms. TV and
The
another
VIP
one, which I
Lounge. The
can't.
VIP Lounge with MVP.
Yeah, VIP Lounge.
The Peep Show. The Cutting
I've
Edge.
actually, yes, I've actually watched two Grayson Wallers.
The Grayson
and
Waller effect, yeah.
I've watched two Grayson Waller effects, and I don't know whether it's the character or not, but that show is not even in the ballpark
Okay, so
of
hold
the
on.
rest of them.
So before you shit on Grayson Waller, the main
I'm not
roster...
shitting on him.
No, no.
Let me get somewhere. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. That show is not as over as the other ones, or I'm missing something.
Okay, you are. And
Am I missing
yes.
something?
So the main roster, Grayson Waller effect, has been missing shit because he can't wrestle right now because he broke his leg. In NXT, he used the Grayson Waller effect to get, like, not to necessarily get over because he was already over, because he's a phenomenal athlete. I love Grayson Waller in the ring. I don't really care for his mic skills, but in the ring he's fantastic. If you watch the Grayson Waller effect with HBK, because he was trying to bode him into a match, and you almost got it. Because Shawn Michael goes, "Your opponent at NXT TakeOver is..." And he goes to say him, and then he looks to the ramp, and Johnny Gargano came out, which, like, ended, like, it was a payoff for a feud they had, like, a year prior. But he gets the job done with the NXT Grayson Waller effects. I think it's just because he's playing with, when they put him on the main roster, they didn't have him do what he did in NXT, where he, like, worked his way through the roster with that show. They put him immediately with, like, The Miz, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. So
I just don't think that, and I'm going to stand my ground on this, I don't think it has as much pizzazz as those other shows.
Because they didn't,
I don't think I don't think it's as over.
Because
I don't think it is.
The people that watch NXT are not the same people that watch Monday Night Raw. They're two different crowds. So they introduced Grayson Waller with the Grayson Waller effect on Raw, and people are like, "What the fuck is this? Why do we care that this is a thing?" I think they should have had him, like, hype the show up first before he had his first Grayson Waller effect. And they've
like
kind of dropped the ball with it.
Right?
Yeah, SmackDown. And they just, again, when he got drafted over there, they automatically, like, the first segment he was in on SmackDown was the Grayson Waller effect. And I'm like, why did we not hype this up at all? And they were just like, tonight, it's the Grayson Waller effect, not like, hey, in 2 weeks, the Grayson Waller effect's going to have blah, blah, blah on it, like Miz TV.
Like, my point is, like, I don't like Logan Paul, right?
Yeah, Logan Paul's
But
trash.
I know who Logan Paul is.
Yeah.
Right?
Because all the buzz, yeah.
So if they had a Logan Paul show,
they do,
that makes perfect sense.
They just can't put
No,
Impulsive
no, I'm
on
talking about
WWE.
on WWE.
Oh yeah. I get
That's what
you.
I'm talking
I
about.
get like a
Yeah,
Logan Paul
I
talk show.
actually
I
know
got
who.
you.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, if Logan Paul had his own talk show, it would make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just not getting the Grayson Waller thing. I'm just
Yeah,
not getting it.
it's kind of a hard thing to grasp because it's. I think it's also the fact that we have too many of them going at one time because Miz TV is still a thing, and if you think about it,
Which is great because I love the Miz.
yeah, but if you think about it, the highlight reel was doing its own thing, like no one else was doing it, like,
Yeah,
and as the highlight reel fizzled out, Edge started doing the cutting edge, and then when the cutting edge fizzled out, we brought in the Peep Show, and the Peep Show never got anywhere, and then
the
like.
Peep Show never got anywhere as much as I loved it.
Yeah,
All
I
five
loved
episodes.
all 5 episodes. And then Miz and Morrison did the dirt sheet on ECW, which was hilarious. I loved
Which
every
was
single one of them. Yeah.
it was great. I loved it.
It just,
Even though
again,
I didn't like ECW.
yeah, I didn't like the ECW Reborn. But again, like, I think it's because there's too much of that going around. Because MVP's still doing the VIP lounge, Miz TV, the Grace, there's too much of those shenanigans. Not everyone wants to watch that segment.
I think, and I definitely want to go ahead and get to the next match.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, because I have actually booked, and you and I have booked together, fantasy wrestling. Just, I'm sure nobody's listening to our podcast to actually get the idea, but what a way to promote the Grayson Waller effect. Put him on Miz TV and have Miz
Oh, yeah, they would
and
be,
interview
yeah.
him.
That would
It would be at that point it would be like boom, you can just go with that.
and then you could have a feud for Miz. I mean, granted, he's feuding with Ciampa right now, but that's not the point. But
Which was great, by the way. I loved it.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact of like, I loved the Cena promo. I just didn't understand the point of Grayson Waller. Like that when he came out, I was like, "What the fuck?" And then like he was like,
Yeah,
"We're gonna bring it to
I literally,
Australia," and I was
I
like, "We having
literally
a
went
debate
to
right now?" Like,
I literally said to myself, I was like, "What is the point of John Cena?" Well, okay, so I got the point of John Cena coming out
yeah. I
to
understood
hype
his
up
whole,
London.
yeah.
Yeah, but when I saw Grayson Waller, I'm like, okay, I know who you are because I've followed SmackDown enough to know and see like 2 episodes of Grayson Waller effect. So I know who you are, but why
Why should John Cena
why
waste his
F5
breath?
him?
Yeah,
Yeah, why F5 him? Why, I mean, are you gonna have a match?
I don't know.
Like
That's
in it,
so. Hold on, one more thing about the John Cena segment though, and this got a lot of flack on Twitter, which I don't really care about flack on Twitter, but I was reading the tweets as this thing was happening, and it is very petty what WWE did that night. Because apparently, 5 minutes before that John Cena promo, London, like in the arena, they had an ad for All In London that will be in Wembley in August. So Cena comes out and goes, "Oh, they're gonna sell out Wembley. We're gonna bring Mania here. We'll follow that." So it's kind of a petty thing WWE did, but it's all like, "Oh, you're gonna come to our market to London? Okay." Like it was just a big petty thing. But up next, after the John Cena thing, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, I watched the whole match, but I lost interest a few times during the match because the match got real busy. Like
yeah,
not even things were happening, just a lot of things were getting set up at one time. And I didn't
yeah.
enjoy that because the whole time cameras were just watching people do shit. Not even wrestling, they're
I
just
just
doing shit.
I just want to say that I wanted Bailey or Becky to win.
I wanted
Either
Trish
one
to
I
win.
would have been fine with.
I wanted Trish to
Huh?
win just because, like, if you think about it, out of all the legends that have came back, like, this last go-round, outside of, like, Goldberg and Lesnar and shit, none of them have gotten gold. Like, Edge still hasn't gotten a title since he's been back. I can't really think of any other legend that's been back, actually, now that I say that, besides Edge. Taker didn't get a title run, when he did his whole thing with AJ. But I was like, Trish, we could put the strap on her. Like, I'd be all right with that. Like, she could still go. I don't really
See what
understand the
Becky
Zoe
did to
Stark
her
thing.
nose?
Gosh, bro. Oh, if you watch Raw, there's a throwback that happens on Raw, so you'll enjoy it and you'll understand the nose thing. So, anyway, the match did get really busy, but the ending was really cool to me because Bailey and Becky get handcuffed in the ladder together, and then Io climbs over Bailey and takes down the Money in the Bank, and she wins it. I don't know what they're gonna do with Io. I don't think she's gonna be the one to cash in. I think she's gonna be one of those cases where she ends up defending it and losing it. But if not, I would like to see Io with the strap because she was a phenomenal NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, I definitely I personally I don't if you've been watching the podcast and you've been following us for any length of time, you know that I'm transgender. So I have to say that because I have to say even before I transitioned, women were not getting the book. They
Yeah, they
just
weren't getting the
weren't.
time that they deserved. No,
No, they weren't. And now, like, they got their own Money in the Bank. They've got their own Royal Rumble. They're getting the
main
book
evented
now.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're getting the book, and I love this match. And it did get a little busy. I don't know who this Zoe
Stark,
person is.
NXT came from NXT.
Yeah, but she seems to be kind of like a
Early
like a
China bodyguard kind of thing.
yeah,
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 that's where I
yeah.
like put her.
She seems to be like Trisha's bodyguard because she
Yeah,
was protecting her the whole match.
it did the job well too. Never even once like
Yes, she did.
went for the thing herself. She did the gimmick well. I will praise the women though because there was a lot of like cool spots in the match. I don't remember
There
who.
were some better spots. There were some better spots than the men.
Yeah, so Selena's code red off the top of the ladder through the ladder on Zoe Stark was dope because I'm a big Amazing Red fan, and the fact they brought up that they're related and that that Amazing Red created the code red, that was cool that they called that out. I was like,
Yeah,
that's journalism right there. Like that's a pro wrestler.
the fact that they could have just said that's her cousin's move and left it at that, but the fact that they called out like a TNA guy,
Yeah,
like you know, like a decade or longer TNA guy,
yeah, and the guy like
you
runs
know,
his own wrestling promotion too now.
yeah,
House of Glory or House of Honor, House of something. I want to say it's House of Glory though.
yeah,
The match got an A minus on CBS. I'm actually okay with that because like I did say that I lost interest in some of it, but I was actually like doing like three things at once while watching it. But like when at the end of the show when they did the highlights for the match, I was like, oh damn, that match is better than I thought it was. So I'd probably ride with the A minus on it. Next up, I don't disagree with this match being the co-main event because of what the main event was, but I still believe a world title ends the show because I'm very old school in that outlook on it. But the world heavyweight title match was next, and I missed this whole match. I had to go to the gas station when this match happened, so I had to watch it back. But I saw the entrances. The entrances blew me away. Finn Balor versus
I
Seth.
gotta say,
And before, I was hoping that my boy Finn Balor was leaving London as the world champion.
now I was going to say I wanted, and I even told Stevie this, I wanted Finn Balor to win. Not only did I want him to win, I wanted him to shave his fucking beard off and bring the demon back. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted Prince Devitt, is what I wanted. Now, I will say this match as a professional wrestler, I wanted Finn Balor to win, and this had nothing to do with the title. I had such a hard time with this match because I fucking love Seth Rollins.
I'm a
So to
I'm a
put
big
these
Seth fan.
two against each other, for me as a pure wrestling fan, was really fucking hard. Even though I rooted for Finn the whole time, I really was just like, I was loving the workload of Seth Rollins. And by the way, it's House of Glory.
House of Glory. Okay, I knew it was I knew it was the House of something. So Finn Balor
Yeah.
versus Seth. So I didn't initially watch the matches as it aired because I had to go to the gas station like as soon as the match went to start. But I came back and ended up watching the match after the main event. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor had that crowd eaten out of their hands, even though that match lasted less than 10 minutes. The fact that the world title match is already getting less than 10 minutes bothers me, but I don't think they needed more time because of how it happened in the main event, and because shit had already went over anyway, and they were already getting fined for the show because it went over. But Finn Balor and Seth Rollins did the job. They delivered well. I gave that match a solid A, and Seth Rollins burns it down again and retains the title.
A plus.
Oh,
A plus. A plus. Now, on to the next match.
The main event.
We are going to try our best to not pick this apart, because let me go ahead and tell everybody the history. Okay, so this is personal history. And you can already see where this is going. He loves Roman Reigns. He has been, in his defense, he has been following Roman Reigns as long as I can remember, before he was the champ.
Yeah, I was
He's been a fan
as Leaky.
Yeah, he's been following him for the longest time, and he is a true hardcore Roman Reigns fan.
If you remember correctly, when Roman was in the Shield, I told everyone he was going to be the guy to break out. Like, granted, Seth and Moxley still did their own breakout thing, and Moxley's killing it in AW. Seth's the world champion, but I'm sorry, Roman was the superstar of that group. And granted, for a long time, everyone knew Seth was the carrier because Seth was the workhorse, Moxley was the mouthpiece, and then Roman was the, I'm just going to kill this guy. But as that went on and how Roman has grown, Roman is the greatest superstar that WWE has ever built from the ground up.
I disagree. And that's not a personal thing. I think John Cena is a bigger, and I would say that almost Hulk Hogan. But I will say
bigger
this.
Star, yes.
I will
I'm
say
saying greatest star that they ever built, because they didn't build Hogan. Hogan had already had buzz from AWA and stuff like that.
What about Cena?
Cena,
and I don't even like Cena.
He's more successful, yes, but I'm saying as great, accolade wise, over 1,000 days as Universal Champion, beat Pedro Morales' record, beat John Cena's record, and he hasn't had to do it in 17 title reigns. He's done it in 6. And
okay, so back to he loves Roman Reigns.
Big Roman
he
fan.
Just
huge, I got a Funko
huge
Pop
fan.
of him sitting right here.
I don't dislike Roman. I don't like it being forced on me. So that's what I don't like.
I think the reason that I have such a love for Roman is because of the love I had for The Rock. And he reminds me of a more serious Rock. Because, Rock, when he was a megastar, was, more of, I'm not going to say he was a comedy character, because, The Rock could go in the ring, and obviously the big matches with Hogan and Cena and Austin and all that shit, obviously he was phenomenal, and The Rock is one of the greatest of all time. But because of the love for The Rock that I had, I follow the Samoan dynasty, because, I'm a fan of Jacob, I'm a fan of the Usos, I'm a fan of Solo, I'm a fan of, the hell's the other one's name? I think the other brother's name is Lance. All of the Samoan dynasty. I was not a fan of Yoko, though. I'll say that out loud. I was not a fan of Yoko. I wasn't.
Oh my God! You broke my new generation heart.
I didn't like.
You broke my new generation because I loved Yoko. Oh my God! And I love the head shrinkers.
Oh yeah, the Head Shrinkers were great. I loved that tag team when I was a kid. But the love for the Roman is probably from The Rock because like he reminds me so much of The Rock, and now that he is like legitly earning his way on the Mount Rushmore, I'll say it. I think he's getting there. Roman's done a
Now let
fantastic
me
job with this whole story. Like,
now let me yes, I definitely agree that they have created this story, and he has done a great job as being the star
yeah,
because he's the star. I don't like the fact that it's forced on me that you have to see Roman Reigns every Thursday, and he's takes up 20 to 30 minutes of time, and I just like going back to, I didn't like Jimmy and Jay's personal lives, but I liked the fact that I saw that tension, and I saw that there was a possibility that they could possibly maybe turn on him, maybe, and then Jimmy turned on him, and I was like, "What's Jay gonna do?"
well, Jay
And then
turned
Solo was,
first. Jay, if you actually if you watch the story back, Jay turned first. So Roman became the tribal chief. Jay said no. He made Jay fall in line. Jimmy came back. Jimmy said no. He made him fall in line. Then they got Solo, who had to acknowledge him, and then they just kind of ran the cycle again, but this time with a little bit more tension because Sammy got added. The whole Sammy thing happened, and then that caused Jay to go, "What the fuck?" And then Jimmy was like, "Hey, I'm starting to see this shit now." Like, and then obviously we're here with Jimmy super kicking Roman. Jay super kicks him. Then we got the Civil War tag match. This
so
match
I
delivered
going
so
going
much.
into this match going into this match and during the match, I was like, I literally said, I want to see how long we can draw this out without, if you have not seen the match, we're going to draw it out to where we're going to give you the end when we fucking feel like it. I literally thought there's no fucking way.
I
Not three
didn't
and a
think,
half
yeah,
years. They're not. Yeah, they're not gonna let him lose. There's no
not in
way
London.
you can
Not
do.
in London.
Yeah, you're not. I don't care how many super kicks. Even I thought that maybe Solo was gonna turn on
Also,
him
hold on.
and give him the spike.
Hold on. So, you brought up the super kick, and I just want to add one thing into this. Young Bucks take notice. It didn't take 30 of them. They did not have to throw 30 super kicks in that match to make that crowd pop. They hit five super kicks that whole match. Five of them.
I will say this, that again, Dave Meltzer's not listening, Conrad Thompson's
I
not
hate Conrad
listening,
with a passion.
and the Young Bucks aren't listening.
No, they're
Our
too busy
friends are
getting beat up in
listening.
a media scrum. That's what they're too busy doing. But so when the match started, it already was a big deal. And if you're a big like historian like I am, like obviously you know I'm a big historian. If you look back, because again I followed Roman since day one. If you look back when Roman was in the Shield, there was another historical fact about Roman that he went so long without getting pinned. The first guy to pin him was Jey Uso when the Usos battled Seth and Roman. The first guy to pin him in 3.5 years was Jey Uso. Jay's got his number.
I will say that, and I had text you. Well, I didn't text you. I Facebooked you
Yeah,
because you never answer your phone. Um,
I'm horrible.
because you never answer your phone. We've got heat. You're a horrible person. So the video package,
Phenomenal.
the Thor, I literally I text you. I'm like, oh my god, I can't fucking wait for this match. I'm so excited because even if you had never seen what had happened and you were just coming in and you were just watching Money in the Bank, the video package literally put everything together. And the other thing that I loved about it is that, I don't know if you notice it, every time something happened with the Usos and and Roman, they would put cracks on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
That was so cool.
Yeah, they were displaying the chink in the armor of the bloodline. The only
Yeah.
problem I had with this match, the build with the Jimmy and Jay was great. The build with Roman was great. I don't think they focused enough on Solo because they bounced around with him for a minute because they were like, oh, Solo's gonna turn on Roman. Then he turned on the Usos like 2 seconds later. And he's like, oh, I'm going to stand with you, my tribal chief. But then, like, they kept saying, oh, Solo's going to be the next tribal chief. But they didn't have Solo do anything, like, to even think, like, give you a little hint that, like, he wanted the spot or that he was going to, take that next step. And then the whole match, like, Solo didn't even sell into that. Like, he didn't, except for one time. There was one time when he was like, him and Jay were going at it, him and Jimmy went at it. And then Roman was like, tag me in. And he looks back at Roman, walked right into his face, and just went. And then just, like, stepped on the apron. And Roman just, like, looked at him like, the fuck's your problem? That was, like, the one time in the match where I was like, yes, yes, yes.
I at that point, I thought that was it.
No, I thought that Solo was the moment. Break. Yeah, I thought that was the moment, too.
I thought Solo was going to break there. And if you haven't figured it out, we already gave you the ending.
Yeah, the Usos did win, and it was a massive pop.
Yeah, and Jay pinned Roman, and it was great. I do want to say that
two more historical facts real fast. Two more historical facts.
Real quick.
Go for it.
Just hold on. While I will not acknowledge him, I will not. I refuse to acknowledge him. But I do recognize that he was given the ball and he has run with it.
Yeah, because
he has done a great job. You cannot dispute the fact that he has taken the ball and ran with it.
I think
he is so good at what he's doing.
I think it was just the perfect. It was the stars aligned, kind of like when Flair, Tully, Arn, JJ all like came together. As the Horsemen, the stars aligned that night. When Jimmy and Jay dropped the face paint, they dropped the dancing gimmick, and they became more of themselves. When the day one-ish thing, when they dropped the flamboyant colors and they went to the black and whites, and when Roman dropped the big dog bullshit and he went to the tribal chief, I knew when he went to tribal chief and they went to day one-ish, I was like, this is where the bloodline comes together. And over time, he pieced them together. He's like, here's Jay, here's Jimmy, put them back together. We're going to bring Solo. And I was like, bring Jacob in. Jacob's the next one. Like, Jacob Fatu, if you don't watch MLW, go watch it. The Samoan werewolf is chef's kiss. But, two historical facts. You'll respect this. In ECW, no one kicked out of the 3D. Roman would not kick out of the 1D. They didn't do the cover for him, but he didn't kick out. He could have, did the whole, not counting, but here's a kick out, just to fuck the 1D. And no one kicks out of the Uso splash. The fact that they still protect moves in the WWE just makes me happy because, they hit the Uso splash, perfectly hit. Jimmy just wham, Jay covers him. Just, mwah. The way that match ended, from bell to bell, that match had me on the edge of my seat.
I want to say that there was a spot in the match that, and you are probably going to laugh when I say this because it's the wrestler in me, the referee spot.
Oh, when he crushed himself?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because the fucking old damn Dan Angler with his horrible 2 left feet goes to fall out of the ring, and Roman fell on him as he went to fall out of the ring, crotched him, and the scream he let out when his balls got snagged was just the greatest thing in the world. Dan Angler was the star of that match. That boy, my only problem with him, with Dan Angler, is he doesn't sell a ref bump long enough. He was down for 2 minutes. If
He
Charles
was
Robinson takes that bump, he's out for an
he's
hour.
out. Yeah. Or Nick Patrick.
Nick Patrick, a horrible sell job. That dude would always like Superman dive like into the spot. But no,
I do want to say
whole match was good.
I give that a solid A+.
Oh, same. From the story to the promo package to the entrance to bell, the performance in the ring,
before with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, that actually helped sell even before the video package.
Yeah, and not only
and
that,
the referee, I like the referees, like, not interference, but the referee doing his job.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And not only that,
that was really good. It added to the match.
The sell afterwards, because Solo looked at Roman like, how were you the one? Because I told everyone if that match ended with the Usos winning, I thought Solo was taking the L. I didn't think Roman was going to take the pin.
Let me tell you, I know it's just a work, but Paul Heyman's face was perfect. It was perfect. I loved Paul Heyman's reaction when Roman got pinned. That was great. That sold the whole entire thing. The fact that Roman got pinned, and I loved it because Paul Heyman. It needed to happen. Well, not only does the pin need to happen, but the wise man needs to sell it because it's Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman is the greatest manager of all time. I think he's overtaken Bobby. I think he's overtaken Bobby Heenan, and it's strictly because of the great men that he's managed. Heenan, yes, astounding manager, has managed the absolute best. But Heyman, Lesnar, RVD, Punk, Lesnar, fucking Roman, Big Show. Technically, you can throw John Cena in there because he was a part of Team Lesnar and that whole feud he was doing. But I'll put John Cena in there just because I always believed John Cena was a Paul Heyman guy. But the sell afterwards that I was talking about was Solo with looking at Roman. Roman just on the outside, never looks back in the ring. He never looked back. He just sat outside the ring with his head in his hands, just looking like, what did I do?
I like the fact that Roman sold the crowd.
Yeah, because he was just looking at them.
Yes, I love the fact that he sold the crowd.
Not only that, there was a spot
that really for me, that not being a fan of Roman and not really liking Roman, the fact that he sold the crowd was amazing. I love that. That is so professional to say, yes, I want you to acknowledge me, but I acknowledge you. I see that you're out there. I hear that you're out there. And not only are you out there, I'm going to make you part of the match.
And not only that, there's a part of the match where Roman gets tagged in and that crowd just starts chanting tribal wanker, and he looks at Paul and he goes, what did they say? And Paul kind of whispered it. He pulled his mouth away from the camera, but you could tell what he said. And Roman just goes, okay, leans into the crowd and goes, bring it on. And the fact that
I like when
crowd up.
I liked it when Roman and Paul were talking and Roman was sitting on the apron and he's like, they're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, they're a bunch of stupid idiots. I don't care about them. It was that, and I love the pace of a Roman match because you get all 5 gears, and it's So I love. Well,
I will say that this. Maybe you can help explain this to people that don't know me or don't know what I've been through in the wrestling business. Even though I will never acknowledge him, after tonight, I respect and will follow Roman Reigns. Now, can you kind of explain that to people who don't know me?
It's because of the work he puts in, the work ethic, the commitment. Because he got when they did the undisputed title thing, he was gone for one pay-per-view because they gifted him, that whole, because he fucked his shoulder up at that Mania, and he had to go get that fixed, and he comes back and he does some shit with the bloodline, but he was like still there, like he was still, you know, grinding, doing everything, trying to make that title still mean something. And every match, every moment, every promo, every time that screen has Roman on it, he's just adding something more. Like, this bloodline story, you can actually look at this, and it's scary to think, but it's almost longer than DX. Literally,
I will.
as soon as SummerSlam rolls around, it will have been around as long as D-Generation X.
I will say that, and I'm going to announce this on the show, and I can't wait to see your face. Yes. You want to tell them what I just looked at?
What did you look at?
I'm looking at my wall.
Okay. Oh, you're going to add Roman to the wall?
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Tell them about my wall. Tell them
Yeah.
about my wall.
So she has a wall of just her favorite action figures, some of the most legendary action figures, and the fact that Roman's going on that wall means a lot. Because she doesn't just put every Tom, Dick, and Harry up there. Granted, that empty, dumb-headed fuck Hangman Page is up there, but CM Punk doesn't like him.
Zack Ryder's up there.
What you got against
But
the
I
Deathmatch
appreciate
King?
it.
What you got against the Deathmatch
Which
King?
I appreciate his work. Huh?
What you got against the Deathmatch King? Matt Cardona's the man.
No, Zach. No. It's not Matt Cardona. It's Zack Ryder. R-Truth is up there. Wade Barrett, twice. Alberto Del Rio's up there.
Alberto
I
Del
liked him at
Cokehead.
the time. Sorry, I liked him at the time. But I've got anybody you can think of up there. Well, not anybody.
So, before we get to more discussions about the podcast that we're going to cover tonight, before this whole thing ends, overall grade for Money in the Bank. I want to hear your grade first before I give you mine. What is your overall grade for? From
Overall grade, B minus.
B minus. I'm gonna get. You know, for every Money in the Bank pay-per-view there's been, my favorite Money in the Bank was the 2011 when Punk beat Cena in Chicago. But it was that one right there. Yes, Money in the Bank 2011. That was my favorite. This one is my favorite now. I really do give this one an A+.
Even though Roman got beat?
Even though Roman got beat because of the story. Like, heroes gotta fall. Granted, I know he's a villain. I know I'm not supposed to, like, cheer for the villain. But look, I'm a villain fan. I love Triple H's Reign of Terror with Evolution. I'm a huge Evolution mark. I'm a huge NWO mark. I'm a huge Bullet Club mark. Alright? I'm too sweet for life. But I got it tattooed on my leg. I'm not going to pull it up on camera because I don't know what else will be shown. But it's the fact that, like, that whole story has carried the company, and, like, they're the number one merch outside of LA Knight. They're just all over the place. Like, literally, apparently this storyline's getting nominated for an Oscar. So, like, that's crazy that a WWE storyline is getting an Oscar nomination. So, it's wild to me, but and then, so overall, I'm gonna give it an A, maybe an A+. And next,